is it's part of the territory that it's something that's somewhat difficult to explain, because it's something that you need to have an experience of. It's like trying to explain water. But, I have a friend, you could explain, well, let's see, there's a hydrogen and an oxygen, and they come together and they have certain forces that makes it liquid in our environment. But then when you fall in the ocean, you know something about water that's way different than any explanation. So, I think it's important to honor the polarity as a Western synthesis of many health wisdom traditions, a lot of them being very Eastern, and also some of them being quite Western, like osteopathy and naturopathy, etc. And what it is a synthesis of all these wisdoms, but organized around the main principle that everything is made up of energy. Everything that we see, everything in life, which is also a principle of physics. And that energy has basic laws that are fairly consistent, and that are consistent within the human paradigm or within the paradigm of nature. And at the heart of those laws are something called triune function, or it's the law of polarity, the law of positive, negative, and neutral. And it basically says that all things have that basic polarity of life, and that polarity of life is part of what maintains you could say, a dynamic tension for life to exist in a healthy way. It looks at life electromagnetically more, and it says that the electromagnetic nature of life is what is inside of or underneath the biochemical or physical nature of reality. You can take their shoes and socks off and go stand on the earth. Or they can take their shoes and socks off and go walk on the edge of the ocean where the water hits the sand. The earth is, and this actually has been thoroughly measured. There's something called the Schumann resonance that measured a lot of this. The earth is negatively charged with electrons. It's a giant sink of electrons. And the atmosphere is positively charged. And so there's a positive to negative, there's a gradient. It's partly what makes lightning happen. But human beings are connected between the atmosphere and the earth. And that connection is vital to the polarity of our bodies. And in our world, we have been wearing rubber and plastic and cement. We have disconnected from the earth quite a bit. So we've lost some of what maintains that polarity for our body. So simply taking your shoes off and your bare feet on the earth or in the sand or in the water helps restore polarity to your body. There was a movement around the turn of the early 1900s. There was a great movement in the health, if you want to call it healthcare industry, but in the wisdom of healthcare. And there was a great deal of consciousness of like trying to find answers in healing. And Dr. Stone was a pioneer. He studied everything. He studied osteopathy, chiropractic, naturopathy, allopathy. He studied Egyptian medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine. He studied everything he could get his hands on. And he was looking for this unifying principle in all the healing arts. And he found it in energy, in life energy, in the energy that pulses through and around our body. And that's the beginning of polarity, his search for this, as many people were doing around that time. And they were looking for things, and a lot of people were coming to the same thing. Energy was an answer. He's not the only one. Many people found the same answer. And we're living in that time, I think, where energy is it's part of our evolution to wake up to the energetic quality of our bodies and our life. Well, the classic is that they're the yin and yang. You know, they're two sides of the same coin. You know, opposite sides of the coin. One is, I think, Western medicine traditionally is looking at. It has a very strong scientific process and an evaluation based on theorems that have to be continually. Everybody should be able to prove that this is true. It's a common field of research. Everybody has to validate it for it to be accepted. And Eastern science and healthcare is based on experience. It's empirical, but it's based on experience. It's not based on the research laboratory. It's based on life and what people have found experientially. Fritjof Capra wrote this beautiful book around it called The Tao of Physics, where he puts together how the Eastern mystical thought or the Eastern way matches entirely the physics, biochemistry, and mathematics of the Western world. So there are two sides, I think, of. There's even a principle in physics that says you can measure reality. It's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It says you can measure reality and get a number on it, or you can be in the experience of it. But you can't have both. Once you measure it, it's no longer just an experience. You changed it forever. When you're in it, it's what it is. So Eastern is more about what it is as an experience and what comes out of that, and Western is more a measurement and what comes out of that, and how do we, from that measurement, then learn how to deal with things. I feel like I explore quantum physics every day. In my class or when I do sessions, I feel like I'm playing with the time-space continuum when I do a session. And people say that too, like I feel like time and space, I feel like I'm in a suspension a little bit, and I'm experiencing life as a field, and I'm interacting with that field, and things are changing. I'm experiencing the theory of relativity. I believe that, maybe I'm in delusion, but I love the delusion, so I would keep it. But I believe it's all quantum physics, is the beautiful measurement, and the same principles in quantum physics, that's polarity to me. They go right together.